Hello everyone, it's Lindsay from the Vintage Button. I junk journal and a slow stitch, and I craft as sustainably as I possibly can, and I'm here with a junk journal one. So at the weekend I've got like a craft stall come mini workshop stall, and I'm going to offer two types of workshops, slow stitch and junk journal. So I have to prepare like things to do with the junk journaling, sort of resources and elements and stuff. And so the idea is that they will either decorate a vintage postcard like that and kind of make it pretty in their own way, like this has even got a stamp on it, and then the other one is to make like a small junk journal, and I've got bases for that, but they're just not to hand. Hold on one moment. I wonder. Put them out. Yes, I have. I think they're in one of these. Oh, she says wrecking the joint. Are they in here? Yes, they are. I'm putting things in tins just to make them look presentable. So I've just made some zines. Really simple. This is going to be like the lower end, these two, the lower end of the prices. I think it's like £3 for each one. Or it might be £2 for the card and £3 for the book. I don't know. It's not a lot because I don't want the prep to be a lot. The slow stitch prep is much more involved. So what I do to sort of kind of get fodder for collages and stuff like that, and kind of get elements, is I use magazines. Nowadays I use magazines less than when I first started. When I first started, magazines were my main source. I remember I started junk journaling during the pandemic, and it was sort of necessity is the mother of all invention. I needed to fill my time because I was furloughed and I was getting quite stressed, and I needed not to spend money. And junk journaling just sort of saved my life, really. It was something I always wanted to do, never had time to do. And then I thought, well, I've got nothing but time now, and that's how I started. So, have loads of magazines because I have a subscription. You just sort of dig into the magazines. Now, I'll even show you on the front page. We've got like elements like this, and it's greater than the sum of its parts. You could chop all of these individual bits out and up, and then they would become your ephemera. They would become your pieces. I don't use stickers or single-use craft items. And when I first started, I was very tempted to buy, and I did buy a few things, and then I thought, what's the point in doing this when I actually want to use all this kind of stuff up? So I stopped. And I don't use any now. But what I will do, and because I enjoy the process of sort of cutting things out, and I enjoy the process of making my own supplies, that's actually, I think, a part of my mental health and definitely my downtime in between projects. And I think I've said this lots of times. I will make my own supplies. So using the things that I have around me, I'll make my own supplies. This, can you see this bit here? That's just something similar that I've fussy cut out, and it's gone into my tin, and you could just store them like that. Or sometimes that's another one like that. Sometimes I might mount them on a piece of vintage book page. So I've got one that you could do a before and a after. I'm sure I have. So that's a before. Again, it's just taken from a craft magazine, cutting out something that you find attractive. And then this is after I've put it onto the vintage book page, and it just sort of adds another layer. You sort of see, adds another layer, and it just looks nice when you kind of add it to your collages or whatever. So I've started a little tin of bits and pieces off, where it's a mixture of things that have been added onto book page and things that I haven't. They're just sort of in the tin, and it's been sort of, when I've had a quiet moment, I have a snip out of a magazine. I've been doing it for years. So this is one of my two boxes, and they've got other bits and pieces. You'll notice there's what are these, raffle tickets. But you can sort of cut the individual bits and pieces out. I would actually cut that out as a 3. Oh no, I might not actually. I might use it as 2 hearts, and then this bit can be kind of lost. We don't really need that bit. And then, you know, you've got all kinds of things. The ever so much I really like. You could make, it doesn't have to be thanks ever so much, it could be all kinds of stuff. That's something that's been backed. You could then back that onto a piece of brown packing paper and you've got a little journaling card already made. So I have these boxes as well, and so I'm going to decant, I think, some things from these boxes into that tin, because I don't think I need to take boxes and boxes and boxes of them. But you can just sort of see, and even like this is not from a craft magazine, this is from a Tesco magazine, and it's just a ticket. So it says cinema tickets, you know, one every day. You don't have to use the writing. You can stick something over it. You can have, my computer's going bing bong. You can have it as part of a collage. Just arranging things. There you go. Got a nice little layer. I would use, if you've got blue flowers, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Just sort of add the pieces together and make your own little collages. I'll put that ticket in there. Put that in there. So I'm just going to choose a few bits and pieces to put in my tin. Little butterflies. They're just kind of really useful. See, I would put a ticket, that's where you ticket again, or any other kind of ticket over that, and then you can sort of make it your own sort of journaling cards. Look, this is map paper, but it's from a magazine. So if you don't like have your own map paper and you can't find it, sometimes looking in magazines and stuff like that. Here we've got like a really big thing that you could cut lots of different elements to make lots of different flowers. There's like pieces that are worthy pieces of art themselves, so you could use that as a journaling card. Loads of bits and pieces here that can just be snipped up. So using your magazines are really, it's just helpful. It's just really helpful. And I bet if you're a crafter, you've got loads of craft magazines probably sitting on a shelf. I used to try and give them away until I worked out how to do this. Celebrate the little things, that's nice for in a journal. So we'll put that in there. Hello friend, nice little journaling card, or a tab on the side of a page. Just myriad ways you can use these things. The littlest thing in life are where we find true joy. That's a nice sentiment to have. Butterfly, that's a good thing to cut out. Little bows. So like, you have this, you can cut that out. That little bow you could fussy cut out. And the flower. And you've got all kinds of bits and pieces for your journals. Got a little bit of a flower, got a butterfly. What's this? Nice little flowery bit. You put something else over that, that's where you put a butterfly. You know, like, and then you've got almost like another layer. Where did I put that butterfly? I've got one that's not quite cut out, but you'll see what I mean. You know, so you've got that, you'd fussy cut that out and put that over where that is. Build your pictures up. You don't need all of these extra bits and pieces. You probably have what you already need in your craft room or wherever you keep your magazines. Look at that pretty rose. Some of these will probably be like where you've got, oh, that's nice, where you've got sort of the stamps to go with it. If you like me, because you get the free stamps, you can even make them kind of work with the stamps themselves, because they'll generally be different sizes. So I'm filling my tin up quite rapidly, really. Don't bother with that. All I'm thinking about is things that can be used, can be prick sticked into those little books. There will be a tin with see, there's this is an example of what you can do. Oh, some good scissors. So this is in a craft magazine, and it's for advanced crafters to do. But even the wordage is really good, because if you snip it out, you know, some words you can just make them your own word. Just snip the D off. Advance. Go forward. Oh, that's a nice thing. I'll just put that in as well anyway. Some other bits and pieces that are nice. So I'm just having a dig through, and I thought I would show you that this is how I sort of like have my own little craft shop in my craft room, is because I've started to process all my supplies. And so it is to a point where if I feel like, oh, I want to have a play with the magazine cuttings, then I can just pull this off the shelf, and there's already things already fussy cut out. Oh, that's a printable. There's already little bits and pieces cut out that they can just be used. See, that could be used like a stamp. So here we go. Let's keep having a look through. I want sort of smallish things, because my little books and my postcard are quite small. That's something that's been put onto a piece of vintage book page. And we can have a few tickets. Another thing that could be used like a stamp. Should cut these up. I quite like these. These might look good on those. So I sent an email around to my colleagues about the one I'm doing next week. So I'm doing a thing this weekend. So that's all. I'm focusing on one thing at a time. But obviously I have to use my work time to do the work one. So I thought, you know what, it's nearly a week away. Let's send a message out. Let's get people thinking about what can I bring in to use to make these things with. So that's what I did. So we can just cut down. It's really warm here, and I've got the window open, so probably not the best idea to do something with paper. I did, I'm planning to do Junk Journal July with a few other crafters, just do our own unofficial one until Meg decides what she wants to do. And I did a sort of message on the Facebook group. It's the Be Happy Stationery design team. It was so windy. And it's actually, I have a scarf pinned up on the wall behind me. If you've seen the room tour, you'll know what I mean. That's a bit Christmassy. Oh, see, that's nice. Bee, and I've got bees. Yeah, I had things pinned up behind, and it's all blown it all off. And I thought, well, I'm not going to get that. I'm not going to put it back up until the weather changes a little bit. Look. Smile, it's a good day. That's a good for a journaling card. I'll just put them in. Yeah, just things, pretty things. If you're a girly, I don't know about like kind of more masculine energy type stuff, because I don't really do that. I'll have to think about it for next week. Because we've got a few guys on our team. Oh, I think there's 2. So it must be hard enough working on a big team full of women. I think we're alright with them. Oh, I like that. See, look. It's the elephant. You get a variety of stuff. Actually, I like both of those. So, yeah. So how are you? What crafty adventures are you having? What are you up to? I've got to have a little chat with somebody else about the Junk Journal July thing after this. So I thought, well, I'll get on, I'll tell everybody what I'm doing and where I'm up to, and then I will get on the kind of messenger call we're having. See, look at that little flower, that little butterfly, sorry. How cute is that? You just sort of fussy cut it out. And then you can have all kinds of butterflies. So I can hear cars coming in the car park at the back of the house. And I'm in the house on my own. Because Miles has worked in his office today and he'll do tomorrow as well, because I'm not going into my office this week. It's so far away, my office. I need 2 lifts. It's like planes, trains and automobiles together, and because both of my lift options have just they're not there. It's a very rare occasion. I asked could I work from home, and they said yeah, because I'm generally there. Oh, get the focus right, Lindsay. There we go. So even little tiny things, and all of those things, they sort of add up. I've got loads of little butterflies here. Let me just collect them up, put them in the tin. Some little bits of flowerage. Let me show you a book. So this is my junk journal, what a junk journal is book. Yeah, because some people don't know. Mostly, I didn't know really. So I kind of made this book to sort of explain what a junk journal is from my point of view. So again, because I don't use the stickers, I don't use, all of those types of things. I use true junk. So this book is focused on that. So it kind of talks about sort of reduce, reuse, repurpose, recycle art from waste. And you can see I'm going to look for, like, these things are actually, they might be stickers actually. Oh, see, I have used stickers. This is when I was still using stickers. But things that I've made, that's from a magazine. That's from a magazine. Finding phrases that are really helpful. Getting the wind up. This is what I was saying about like layering up. So this is something from a magazine that's been put onto Vintage Book Page. I could probably cut that white down a little bit more before I put it on, and then onto a bit of brown card, and it's made a little kind of tuck thing. That's another thing from a magazine. Oops, sorry for knocking you. That's from a magazine stuck onto a bit of a printable. That's from a magazine, and I've watercoloured the background and then sort of stuck it on so it sort of almost blends, and then use white gel pen. So I just want to sort of show you the bits and pieces that are from magazines in this journal. And here it would have said happy birthday, and what I've done is I've stuck another piece of paper over it and wrote thoughts on it. So you can sort of adapt all of these little bits from whatever magazine you like. I recently sent, and I will do a flip through of it. I recently sent off a little tiny pill bottle or pill box sort of journal, and it was made out of a magazine that you get through the door from the garden centre. You know, the kind of thing where there's all flowers and they're in boxes. So I kind of chopped the boxes up and made little seed packets, because they had the name of the flower on and they looked like seed packets when I did that. And it just sort of gave it a little lift. This is another thing that's from a magazine. So I've gone over, it would have been happy birthday there. I've put another little piece of paper on and said notes, and it's on Vintage Book Page and then on the brown paper to make like a little card. Like this bit is from a magazine, and the other bits are printables. It blends in. They can the words, they're from an advertisement. Just trying to flip through quickly, find the bits from a magazine. It blends in. I think that might be it. It blends in. So you can see how useful little bits and pieces from magazines are. Oh, see, that's quite nice. Imagine Fussy cutting that out and then layering it onto something. We'll put that in that box. So I'm going to carry on filling my tin up so that when my table, I will do a post. I think I'll do a post rather than a film. When my table's set up, there'll be lots of vintage tins and jars and boxes and things, lots of interesting things for people to rifle through. It's going to be a clatter of oh, I'll put that tag in. Oh, see? Surround yourself with those who bring out the best in you. You know, these are quite useful journaling sentiments. You could write a list of those people on the back of that card. This is something what I mean about like how it says happy birthday. Cut another piece of paper out in that shape and it can mean anything you want it to mean. Work hard and be amazing. Little tiny, like that could be a tab on the side of a page. I'll put that in there. There's just so many. I've already cut out loads and loads of little bits and pieces. We will definitely be using them. So I hope you have a good day. It's just a quick one where I kind of talk about harvesting your magazines, harvesting anything really. Anything that's got a nice picture on it or something that you resonate with and it's, you know, it's junk, it's ephemeral. That's what ephemera is. It's something that is not intended to last a long time. Chop it up, make something wonderful out of it. Make it an expression of who you are and your art and all of that good stuffs. Alright then, I will see you soon. If you found value, hit that subscribe, the little bell, like, comment, do all the YouTubey things. Help my little channel grow. I'm going to be posting as often as I can throughout the rest of June and July, with the hopes that I will get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of July. So you can help me out with that. I would thank you and it would be amazing. Alright then, bye bye.